call this meeting to order at 2:45 p.m. Roll call.
Oscar Salinas here.
Nereida Cantu present.
Mary Hernandez present.
Espi Ochoa present.
Alex Cantu present.
Alder Benavides present. Dr. Science, I declare a quorum. You may proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Benavides. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Do we have any public comments?
We have no public comments.
Then we'll move to number 5, bids. Approval of air service sanitizing equipment district-wide CSP 2022.
I'd like to make a motion on this item. I'd like to make a motion to table this item and direct legal counsel to meet with energy compliance and purchasing and report back to us in the next meeting on whether or not the procurements and procedures were followed by law. That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second. Yeah.
I would like, I see Mr. Loya here, and I'm all about transparency, and so I would like to call on Mr. Loya just to let us know what has been the steps. And I'd like Mr. Loya to speak, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon. President, but you have a motion on the table, so
You can open up for discussion.
can we go on, Attorney?
You can open up for discussion.
We can have a
Yes, you
discussion.
can discuss.
Because there's a
We
motion
can
on
have
the
a
table.
discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, good afternoon, Madam Board President, Board of Trustees, Dr. Gisela Saenz, our cabinet, and of course the community that's tuned in. We're coming to the board for the approval of the air and surface sanitizing equipment for district-wide. These purifiers are for every single classroom across the entire district of La Joya. This expenditure will, of course, we will provide an air purifier for all elementary, middle schools, and high schools. 57 proposals were sent in. 25 proposals were received. It says several, including multiple offers. What does that mean? That we did get 25 offers for this purifier, but vendors submitted various alternate brands. So we had to review over 35 different bids that came in for this line item. So line item number 1 are the small purifiers for our classrooms. After many months of doing our research and verifying with vendors that their equipment did kill the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is the virus that creates COVID-19, and a lot of different requirements. We got together with a committee. We ranked. Every committee member had their own matrix. After they were done ranking, we submitted to purchasing, and that's how it's here now. The company that we are recommending is Disinfect Care. They're out of San Antonio. The total cost is $1.4 million. It's $1,467,000. We have confirmed with this vendor if they're able to meet our delivery requirements. What I mean by that is availability. That was something that we were extremely concerned with this pandemic and with this virus getting more contagious on it seems now on every other month there's a new variant coming out. The demand for these purifiers has gone through the roof, so we were concerned if we could get these purifiers here and within the period that we had put in our bid. We got together with purchasing, and when I say we, is my department with purchasing department, and we came up with a 25 business day delivery time requirement, which we think is a very responsible lead time or time for them to get each and every purifier to our district. Of course, that was part of one of our ranking criteria as well. Some vendors submitted that they could get us 400 on one batch and another 400 a month later, so they were ranked accordingly. We feel extremely confident in the process that we took, and we feel positive that we did our due diligence with this bid, and I mean, all the purchasing was with us along the entire way. Everything was followed. It is a CSP, that means it's a closed seal proposal, and over 50 bids came in for these both line items. So, I mean, it was a lot of information that we were requesting. The main one was to make sure that we had independent lab testing that confirmed that this equipment did kill COVID, as well as many other airborne infectious diseases. So all that was covered. Delivery time, if they had any litigation with any other school board, if where they've installed this equipment at other school districts, all that was reviewed. I know it's taken a while to get here, but it's been a long process, and like I said, we feel extremely confident in the decision we made. And I mean, we went around the room, and each committee member felt good with what they were going to turn into purchasing. And I mean, we're here now, and if there's any other questions, I'm here to answer. I'm the person who can answer, and I'll answer today. I won't come back at the next board meeting. I'm here right now. And that way we give our community some peace of mind, and I'm here to respond.
Mr. Loya,
Yes,
who is in the committee?
Okay, so it was really tough, Dr. Cantu, to get a committee due to the circumstances we're going in. One week I had people lined up, and due to this variant that's extremely contagious, that would fall through. Thank God, on Monday I was able to finally get a committee together. It was myself, Mr. Rick Berreal, our superintendent of operations, Mr. Joe Berreal from operations, and Mr. Esteban Llanos from energy and compliance.
Okay, and as previously stated in the meeting last week, we told Mr. Flores this was priority for us, making sure our children are safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Why has it taken so long for us to get to this?
Yes, ma'am. So if the board recalls, back in mid-October, we brought 2 agenda items. One was for the purification for our school buses, which that project is about 90% complete. The only thing pending on that project is the buses that were out getting maintenance that didn't have the technology installed. That one's done. The second item that was brought during that board meeting was this item. Unfortunately, there was legal recommended for us to rebid the project. So that's why it got rebid. We didn't have to rebid it, I think, and we thought as a committee and as an organization that there wasn't anything wrong with that bid. Unfortunately, our recommendation was to rebid the project. There was a vendor protest, ma'am, for that certain bid. Basically, the vendor was saying that we were being a little too specific on what we wanted. I didn't think we were, because we know what we want, we know what we have, and we know what works. Like I said at that board meeting, that a lot of vendors think that their technology is better, and that's fine. We'll prove it. Send us your documentation. Some vendors wanted to send us UV lights. That works, but we're looking for a technology that actually goes out and kills the virus and other viruses on the surface and in the air. Not a UV light where the virus has to go to it. The technology actually goes out and kills the virus on surfaces and in the air. So that was the concern, I guess. If you want to look at the tab sheet, that's on page number 2. Page 1 of 6 on the tab sheet, that's the new literature that we submitted. So instead of it just saying must meet 500 square feet to 3,000 square feet, we had to add the literature that said or similar range. That was the main concern. It was something very, that was extremely small like that, and I personally didn't think that we had to rebid, but I got overruled, and it is what it is. That's what happened. I mean, I'm on the same boat as everyone in our community. My kids attend LJISD, and I want this technology out there as well. So after that, when you rebid, it's not like it's just one day you can go ahead and purchase. You have to advertise for a few weeks. After that, you have to give the vendor ample time to submit all their documentation. And as you can see, we weren't just asking for one page. We were asking for a lot of different documentation. Like I said, lab testing with certified technicians and doctor's signature, delivery times, all that kind of stuff, ma'am. So it took a while. By the time this tab sheet was released to me, it was probably close to Thanksgiving break. When we got back, we worked on it again. By the time the matrix comes out, because purchasing is not just working on one bid, they're working on a lot of bids. And due to the volume of bids that came in, I mean, I've asked around people who have more experience than me, and they've never seen a bid with 50 bids or something that came in at this volume. So it was a lot of work for purchasing, and like I say, I have nothing but good things to say about them because they've always been there for us, and they try to get everything out as fast as possible. So I received that matrix like on the 22nd or the 23rd of December, worked on it during the holidays. I tried out when we got back January 6th or 7th. I tried to form a committee, and due to the situation that we're in, I couldn't form a committee. As soon as I got the committee formed, which was this Monday, we probably ranked from 8:30 in the morning to about Mr. Rick, 6 p.m. It was an all-day thing to rank, and my job in that committee was to have everything prepared for that committee. I had a bid note for every single bid, why we ranked it, how we should rank them. Like I said, delivery requirements, and I had every single piece of documentation that you needed ready for that committee. That way, they had a question, I have my laptop, I have my projector, and I had bid notes. So I can tell you that nothing was done improper, and like I said, I have confidence in myself and my expertise and my work ethic, so I know what I'm doing, and if somebody wants to challenge me, they can, and I have all my documentation here, and my committee is more than experienced to make this recommendation.
So you followed all protocols?
All protocols were followed, ma'am.
You're not misleading us, or you're not misinforming us. You and your committee did everything to your best of ability to have the best that we can for our students and staff here at LJISD.
Yes, ma'am. I can tell you if I have Ms. Zapata's approval, that's all I need, because Ms. Zapata is going to always follow protocols and make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Is Ms. Zapata here today? I know she's been out, so you would be next. You would be next. So what do you recommend?
Yes, as the purchasing department, we complied with all the requirements about going out and bidding. And I don't know if can you hear me? Well,
A little bit.
A little closer.
You can get closer.
from the purchasing perspective, we went ahead and bidded the required time, have it open for the required time. Once the bid comes in, the documentation is gathered and provided to the evaluation committee based on the recommendation, because they're the ones that have the expertise when it comes to the different product and so forth. So based on that, Ms. Zapata did evaluate this. She looked at it and she worked on this documentation for the agenda item. So yes, sir.
She did look at it.
Yes, sir. She did.
My concern, and the reason I made the motion, was because last board meeting, we were under the understanding that all the classrooms were already equipped with this. And I feel that this surfaced in the last board meeting, and maybe we could have clarified this prior. And I feel at this point, this is almost a $1.5 million project. And it's a big project. And if we waited this long, let's just make sure legal looks through it thoroughly and make sure that everything's done by the book, and we move forward with it. I mean, if we waited this long, what's another week or two? It's still, I just want to make sure that everything, all our X's are crossed.
So Mr. Loya, the 27th is today. If we were to do that, off the top of your head, when would we have this item back? Would it be a month or 2 months? Because you've said some very key things, you know, and we get a report from our superintendent daily on student cases, adult cases, staff cases. Are you looking at a month or two? Because, I mean, this ain't going away. I just want to make sure that we can have it in the classroom. And I do agree with Mr. Cantu on the fact that I actually was one of the ones that thought that we already had them in the classroom. So.
If I may, sir.
Yeah.
No one has ever said that we had this technology in every single classroom. I stood up here in October and I said that we do have this technology at every single campus, which is the truth. Every campus has at least anywhere from 5 to 7 of these machines, depending on the size of their campus, and they're in high traffic areas. The purpose of this bid was to make sure that we could have a purifier in every single classroom. Okay. And to your question about when, I'm ready now. So if you want to have a meeting next week, you want to have a meeting within 2
I'm
hours,
just saying so that our viewers and our parents and our staff understand that if we were to do that, to cancel it, we're looking what, beginning of March? Because you have to advertise, Mr. Trevino, correct?
But we're not canceling, we're just making sure that legal.
No, yeah, but by not approving it today, I'm looking at the time frame that Mr. Loya and the committee had to do to make sure that we have the number of purifiers that we need, and then the time to get here, because you were giving us an example that some companies could give you 400 today and then maybe 400 the following day. So I'm just looking at the time so that we can understand that.
Yeah, so as of right now, we did make contact, and when I say we as a committee, we put him on speaker during the ranking process, and he has reached out to Ms. Zapata and myself. This particular vendor that we're thinking of recommending, and he did say that they're able to fulfill their delivery within the 25 window period. So that's right now. If we are able to approve it. I don't know what he says in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So like I said, with the demand of these purifiers, I mean, we've done our due diligence. At the end of the day, the board has a decision. We're ready.
I understood the motion to me was just a table.
Yeah.
You were set for a meeting on February the 9th. If you approve it on February the 9th, you've got a 25 window period for delivery, correct?
As of right now, sir, legal, this email was sent to me on Tuesday. I would have to reach out to the vendor again and let him know, is your offer still on the table? I don't,
Why was the vendor
I would have to make contact after the meeting.
Doesn't legal review contracts prior to it coming?
I was going to say that legal counsel reviewed this item.
I did meet with Mr. Villarreal telephonically and with Mr. Loya and with both of them together. And I had discussions with him regarding this process. Asked the very same question you asked, Mr. Joe, and I got the very same answers that you got. I have not had a chance to speak to Ms. Zapata or anybody from her department. I will say that.
And that's why I made that motion to get together with purchasing and make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Well, I'm sure as an attorney, Mr. Munoz,
Ms.
if you would have
Zapata did
seen
review,
something,
though.
you would have reached out to her. Just because I know that Ms. Zapata, and I see Mr. Joel nodding his head, I mean, she is super
Mr. Trevino is saying that Mrs. Zapata did review it.
She did.
Ms. Zapata
did
reviewed
review
the
it.
bid. I mean, like I said, we complied with all the advertisement, the required publications based on law. We followed all the different steps that we have. And at the time that the evaluation committee did their evaluation, they forwarded that information to Ms. Zapata to review. She did have some questions, and I believe that she reached out to them. And to clarify, to prepare this document that has been reviewed by Ms. Zapata to ensure that it complies with all the different requirements, legal requirements that are out there.
So
I did not get a call from Ms. Zapata. We got a very good channel of communication with Ms. Zapata. If she would have had an issue, I certainly can't put words in her mouth, but I think if she would have had an issue, she would have picked up the phone and called them right away. But I didn't get a call from Ms. Zapata. But like I said, I did ask the very same questions you asked Ms. Ochoa, and I got the exact same answers and assurances that you got.
Okay,
I
so
think
then,
now my last question is going to be, you're strong behind this, Mr. Loya, that it'll be good. Obviously, everyone went through it, so.
Yes, sir. Myself and my committee, we're extremely positive and confident in our decision and throughout the entire process that went into getting this bid together and ranking and recommending.
okay, so then I'm going to call for the question. There's a motion on the floor to postpone the item by Mr. Cantu, a second by Dr. Cantu. All those in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye. All those against? Nay?
Aye. Nay.
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 Mary,
I'm sorry,
are you for or against?
the holding?
Yeah,
No, we want to continue.
you want to continue. Okay, so then the motion dies. Do we have another motion on the floor?
Okay, then I'll go ahead and so move for approval.
and I second based on administration.
There's been a motion by Mr. Salinas and a second by Ms. Ochoa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, nay.
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 Motion carries.
Thank you.
And can I just ask a question while Mr. Loya is still up there, since last week we weren't
Yes,
able to
ma'am.
speak to you? I have another question. Going back to transparency, as Ms. Ochoa was stating earlier, in reference to the committee that you said you had trouble, getting people, is it possible at all to get a community member or a parent, maybe from the round table, to be part of committees like this, or it has to be?
That's a question for legal. I wouldn't know how to answer that. And I don't think that would be possible, but I can't speak for legal. Mr.
I'm just curious because a lot of the times, and I'm asking because we were all under the understanding last week that we did have these in place. And so it's not just one of us that didn't get that information. It was all of us pretty much that thought we had it. And so in listening to our community out there, of course they're upset because they think, and even ourselves, we talked about it and we're promoting that we have these because we think we do. I'm 100% with you on making sure everything's done right, of course. So I do appreciate the time that you all took to ensure, if something wasn't right, we relook at it and go back and check and make sure. But, I just don't know how we can help our community and our parents out there make sure that this committee and any committee that we have, is making sure that they're taking these steps that you just described to us. So I didn't know if it was possible to get.
Well, I know that Dr. Cantu, and sticking with the topic, right, that several individuals have conversations because you served on the parental roundtable. So I can see where, like, Mr. Loya could come and talk to the parental
Something
and
like that.
suggest ideas and say, this is out there, have those conversations. That's an example of this line
I think
item.
the question was to Mr. Loya, but was referred to legal. The question Dr. Cantu had was, can we have parents?
Well, it was an idea, right?
Yeah,
It's an idea,
and I think that's
but
what-
another idea could be that, the roundtable
And
meets
I
the
think
parents.
that that's
and-
something that we can look into.
I was gonna say that.
On the
That's something
membership
that
of the
can be
committee. We
explored.
can look into that and see
I-
what the
I wouldn't-
possibilities are.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a response. I think that that's something that
Right.
can be explored.
Yeah,
and
it was more like an idea,
Okay, so
something we
basically
can
what
do.
you're asking me, ma'am, if a committee member can come in and rank with us and.
Well, not necessarily, but inform the community, maybe like Ms. Ochoa said at a round table, at a parents' round table, let them know so that they're not surprised, I guess, kind of like we were, that their
And maybe
children.
that's even a
Yes.
question for Ms. Zapata, that she could answer since she knows all the do's and don'ts with procurement.
Dr. Cantu, I believe we did reach out to a community in a roundtable a month. Dr. Sines, do you recall that meeting here at the banquet hall when we
We
let
did.
the community know?
We did have a meeting with the superintendent's roundtable to explain to them our HVAC process and how the air in the classrooms is exchanged, and just the whole idea behind the HVAC monitoring process that we have in place to ensure that there was always the appropriate amount of oxygen in the classroom and to ensure that air is always circulating in the classrooms. So we did provide that information to a group of parents.
And during
And-
that meeting, I also included, I brought a sample of the air purifier, and we let them know that these purifiers are in process, and we're going to try to get these purifiers as soon as possible. So they were made aware, and that was recorded,
Okay,
so
good.
people
Thank
could
you.
have tuned in and
I think that the problem identified here is a problem between administration and the board, and that's something that needs to be addressed, because we did have a misunderstanding, and so administration needs to do a better job of communicating with us as board members so that we can have the correct information, so that we can give our community. That's the problem that we're discussing.
And for me, it was just, I want to make sure that, giving the item or the purifier that we're buying is the best quality for our kids. I don't want to make sure that we shortchange them with something that's, at a high cost and it's not worked properly. I want to make sure that what we buy is what we get, and then make sure that it's the best, and it's for the sake, it's the best quality for our kids. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
And that's a good point, and any time that we're not given all the information, then all of us start speculating different things. And so I don't blame our community for asking, because we also were under the wrong impression. And so communication needs to improve. That's the bottom line.
I would like to thank you, Mr. Loya, and of course purchasing and legal and everyone that worked on this. Every day we get the reports and the numbers are just growing, and I know it's been a long road, but I would like for maybe whenever they come in, maybe have Channel 17 or maybe just take pictures, and so that we can inform the parents and on our next meeting that the purifiers are coming in and how they look and how they work, like a little sample of that. If maybe I'm imagining the company's going to send their technicians. Maybe like a little explanation of how they work, so that both English and Spanish, so our parents can understand at home.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So what I'm planning on doing, Mr. Salinas, is since they did get recommended, I'm going to have them create maybe like a video explaining what the technology does. That way we can send that to every campus and maybe even put it on our website. That's
Yeah,
my
and if they can, and if not, maybe we have our own teachers that can translate it into Spanish, so that all our non-speaking parents can understand. But thank you for all the hard work.
Yes, thank you,
Mr. Loya, I have one question. What is the time frame that they're giving you, to send them all?
So our language on our bid was 25 business days.
Okay.
Which that was a very responsible lead time that we gave the companies. And this vendor did confirm through email with Ms. Zapata and myself that he is able to meet that 25-day window period.
25.
But we asked everybody on those 25 days, right? Not just this specific vendor?
No, it was in the bid language, and so that was one of the part of the requirements in a line item in our matrix was delivery time. So, for example, for delivery time, you can get a total of 7 points. If you were within the 25 days, you got the full 7 points. If you submitted notes that said, I'll send you a batch in 1 month and I'll send you a batch in 2 months, well, we deducted points. For example, another vendor had bid notes that said supply chain delays. So basically, we have no idea what he's talking about, so he was ranked accordingly.
Okay.
Well, all of them scored the highest. All of them scored the same except for one on delivery.
Excuse me, ma'am?
No, I just said all of them scored the same on delivery requirements except for one.
For them, there was a few who were kind of low. For example,
I see 7 on all of them except for one.
there's more towards the back. One was at 2.5, because remember, it's 4 people, so you take the average. Another one was at 1.
Oh, I see.
One was at 5, 6, 5, 5, 2, 3.25. Some were at 2. The next page, 6.25, 1.5. Those are the ones that were saying that there's a supply delay. So
I see.
if they were past the 25 days, we were ranking them.
Okay.
Do these work on filters, Mr. Loya?
There's a filter in the back where the machine will light up when it needs maintenance. You send a tech out there. And when I say tech, as of right now, the machines that are out there, my techs, anytime we have a fire drill, because I am also in charge of the compliance department, when we have a fire drill at our campuses, they go and they check these machines. If they need to be cleaned, they bring them back to our shop. They take the filter out, they provide the liquid, they clean it out, let it air dry for 24 hours, and take it back to the campus.
Also, they're reusable?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it for me.
But there's no installation, right? It's just the plug-in?
It's just a plug and play, yes, ma'am. So that was part of why we included those bid notes, because we wanted something like that. We didn't want something that was going to be on the wall and require for us to change our electricity voltage.
Oh, okay.
That's correct.
Let me ask you, this is for the classrooms, correct?
Yes, for all the classrooms, ma'am.
What about for big areas like the gym and all of that?
Okay, so
Do
that's
we have something in place for that or
Yes.
not yet?
That's line item number 2, ma'am. That one is still being reviewed by purchasing right now, but there is one in place for that. That's going to be for all our gyms, all our large occupied areas.
Okay.
Mr. Loya, but I believe I asked that question last week and I was told that we did have them, so we don't?
We currently have some, like Mr. Loya explained at the beginning, in the like hallways, bigger spaces. So we do have some, I'm not sure how many per school, 5 to 7 per school.
Of the small
But they are
ones.
mainly in hallways or larger areas. Those are temporarily placed there.
So like our gyms?
Yeah,
No.
our gyms do not have any of
They
these.
don't.
Right now, so basically, they can have them if the administration from that office wants to put them in the gym, because basically we provided them with a certain amount of purifiers. When we had, I think we have maybe 150 out there in the district, and each and every campus should have anywhere from, like I said, 5 to 7 purifiers, depending on the size of the campus.
So just to reiterate, what we approved just now is only for the classrooms, and we will be reviewing at a future board meeting for the larger spaces.
Yes, ma'am, and all that has been evaluated on the committee part. We're done. Now it's just at the purchasing department. So when they feel they're ready to submit an agenda item, it will be submitted.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Loya.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Loya.
Our agenda reads into executive session. We will not have to go into executive session. Our employee submitted a letter of resignation on Tuesday, January the 25th. Therefore, our meeting is adjourned at 3:14.